Gentleman yields back. I now recognize the lady from Illinois, Ms. Ramirez, for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Chairman.
American citizens have been arrested or detained. We focus on those that are here illegally.
Secretary Noem, you lie and you lied to the American people.
What happened when Congresswoman Delia Ramirez went head-to-head with DHS Secretary Kristi Noem wasn't just a heated exchange. It was an indictment, a warning. And for many Americans watching, it was the sound of someone finally saying out loud what communities across this country have been screaming for years.
I will be including into the record an article by ProPublica from October 16, 2025, entitled, "We found that more than 170 U.S. citizens have been held by immigration agents. They've been kicked." There's nothing smiling about U.S. citizens. I'm sorry, that's very inappropriate. Let me continue. They've been kicked, dragged, and detained for days. The next one.
The Trump administration has specifically targeted the worst of the worst. The individuals that we are going after are those that are violent criminals, those that are breaking our laws.
Secretary Noem, again, you lied to the American people. I will be including into the record an article by the NBC News from December 7, 2025, entitled, "ICE has arrested nearly 75,000 people with no criminal records, data shows." The co-equal branch of government, and it is your obligation as a member of the executive branch to honor decisions made by the highest court of the land. Yes or no, Secretary?
We are abiding by all federal judges' orders. Absolutely.
The Justice Department said that when the administration was ordered back in March to stop sending detained migrants to a mega prison in El Salvador, you personally made the final call to continue the flights anyway. Is that correct?
And the decisions that are made on deportations, where flights go and when they go, are my decision at the Department of Homeland Security. And we'll continue to do the right thing, continue to work and protect Americans, no matter what radical judge comes out and tries to stop us. We'll do.
You lied on the record, and you lied to members of this committee. You violated court orders by not turning around deportation flights bound for El Salvador, where we know that hundreds of people under your leadership have reported that they were raped, they were beaten, and they nearly died. And your agents used chemical weapons in Chicago despite court orders from District Court Judge Ellis forbidding their use. Secretary Noem, you, Gregory Bovino, and your ICBP and DHS deputized agents have waged an unaccountable, unlawful, unconstitutional war against communities across the nation. Our residents have been surveilled, they've been threatened, they've been tear gassed, they've been hit with pepper balls, they've been shot, they've been subjected to warrantless arrest and precision immobilization maneuvers, they've been kidnapped and disappeared under your leadership. So we have a lot to talk about, but you and your department continue to reject congressional oversight. And you know how I know this? I know this because I've requested a meeting with ICE Field Office Director Russell Hutt. I requested a meeting with Field Office Director Samuel Olson. And when you came to Chicago on October 3rd, I publicly and formally requested a meeting with you. So I'm going to be including a letter I sent on October 3rd requesting a meeting with Secretary Noem. So Secretary Noem, I want to ask you again, will you commit to meet with me, yes or no?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. So we have a lot to talk about. And actually, my scheduler has a couple dates that I'll get to you after this meeting. I appreciate that. So look, I want to be very clear. You have misused resources appropriated by Congress. You've engaged in unethical behavior. You have repeatedly made false and misleading statements to Congress and to the press, and you've undermined the separation of powers and disregarded the role of Congress and the courts. Bottom line, you lie with impunity. You reject checks and balances, and you ignore Congress and the courts. Your options are limited. Either you're going to resign, Trump's going to fire you, or you will be impeached. I've already called for your resignation. You may remember I hand-delivered my request to you back in May, and I urge you to reconsider resignation because I've taken the first step towards your impeachment, and I've called on the Judiciary Committee to open an investigation into your lawlessness. Mr. Chairman, I know that at the end we'll be entering a number of articles into consent, but since I have a few moments, I ask unanimous consent to enter into the record a letter calling the Judiciary Committee to investigate Secretary Noem's impeachable offenses. Whatever you choose, the American people will have justice, Secretary, and you will be held accountable. I'm going to make sure of that every single day. With that, Mr. Chair, I yield back.
Gentlelady.
The setup here matters. This wasn't some chaotic shouting match. This was a member of Congress from Illinois using her allotted 5 minutes to lay out a documented case, citing ProPublica, NBC News, court rulings, and first-hand accounts, while the Secretary of Homeland Security sat there and tried to wave it all away. And this is where everything comes together. Because what we witnessed in that exchange wasn't just a congresswoman getting heated or a cabinet secretary being tough. It was a collision between two fundamentally different visions of government, one rooted in accountability and constitutional limits, and the other rooted in raw executive power with little regard for oversight. Delia Ramirez wasn't improvising. She wasn't grandstanding. She came armed with court orders, investigative journalism, federal data, and documented harm. Every accusation she made was tethered to something tangible. And that matters because too often these hearings are dismissed as political theater. This wasn't theater. This was a record being built in real time. What makes this moment so unsettling and so important is how openly Secretary Noem expressed contempt for the courts. When a sitting cabinet secretary says, on the record, that her department will continue acting, no matter what radical judge tries to stop us, that should send chills down your spine regardless of where you fall politically. That statement alone cuts at the foundation of democratic governance. Courts are not suggestions. They are not obstacles to be maneuvered around. They are co-equal arbiters of the law, and when the executive branch decides it can ignore them, that is no longer policy disagreement. That is constitutional defiance. And let's be honest about who pays the price for that defiance. It's not the people in power. It's the communities Ramirez described, people surveilled in their own neighborhoods, families watching loved ones disappear into detention, citizens detained by mistake and brutalized without recourse, migrants sent to foreign prisons where abuse is not hypothetical but reported and documented. Those are not side effects, those are outcomes. What Ramirez did was force those outcomes into the open, refusing to let bureaucratic language hide the human cost. She stripped away the euphemisms and replaced them with reality. Beatings, chemical weapons, warrantless arrests, ignored court orders. And notice how difficult it was for the secretary to respond once the conversation moved from slogans to specifics. Because facts are stubborn things. You can dismiss critics. You can attack judges. But you can't hand-wave away documented evidence entered into the congressional record. This exchange also exposes a deeper truth about oversight itself. Oversight only works when lawmakers are willing to use it, aggressively, persistently, and without fear of discomfort. Ramirez didn't ask politely to be heard. She demanded answers. And when she was ignored outside the hearing room, she made that obstruction part of the story. That's what real oversight looks like. Following up, nomming stonewalling, and refusing to accept silence as an answer. And when Ramirez laid out the possible consequences, resignation, termination, impeachment, it wasn't bluster. It was a reminder that in a functioning democracy, power is conditional. Authority comes with limits. And when those limits are violated repeatedly, consequences are not optional. Whether impeachment moves forward or not, this confrontation has already changed something. It has forced these allegations into public view. It has created a clear paper trail. And it has shown communities watching at home that someone inside the halls of power is willing to say what many have been afraid to say, that what is happening is not normal and it is not acceptable. History often doesn't turn on dramatic moments. It turns on records, on transcripts, on who spoke up and who stayed silent. And years from now, when people ask who raised the alarm while it was still possible to act, this exchange will be part of that answer. Because democracy doesn't collapse all at once. It erodes when court orders are ignored, when agencies act without accountability, and when suffering is dismissed as collateral damage. What Delia Ramirez did in that hearing was interrupt that erosion, if only for 5 minutes, and remind everyone watching that the Constitution still means something, but only if people are willing to defend it. And that's the real takeaway here. Not the shouting, not the tension, but the reminder that power answers to the people, or it's supposed to. If you're still watching, drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this moment marks a turning point, or will it be added to a growing list of warnings ignored? Like the video, subscribe for more deep dive political commentary, and share this with someone who needs to see exactly what accountability looks like. I'll see you in the next one.